I remember from the war. As a young boy, especially the last 2 years, it was fun because me and my friends, whenever we had a chance, we would steal from the Germans. We had right across from where we lived, the Germans occupied a double home, and there was a barn in behind that home, a large barn for trucks, and that was their kitchen. And close by was a park with a church, and every week at least one time the siren would go for them to all come together to practice how quickly they could come and assemble in front of the church just in case they had to do something. While that happened, there were only about 25 soldiers in our town, German soldiers, but they all had to go. The officers, the soldiers, whatever they did in the kitchen, the cooks, everybody had to drop everything and go in front of the church and assemble, and then they would count them and they would give some instructions, and that was it. All they had to do was be there and then go back to and that would take about a half an hour. Well, that half an hour was plenty of time for me and my two friends to win and steal sausage, or I still have a knife that I stole from them, a long knife. That's the good part of it. Then later on, when the war was just over, we had in the same home a contingent of Canadian soldiers. And these Canadian soldiers were very, very good to us. And they used the same barn for kitchen. And by that time I was 13. I could help them. I peeled potatoes, I washed the pots and pans for them, but I also could help. They were coming, the soldiers would come in front of two sliding windows, and that's how they would get their food. And I would often hand either tea or coffee or other food, but whatever was left over, they would give to me in their original container, the big containers that they cooked in. I would take that home, cross the street, drag it, and then some neighbor ladies would come and my mom would dole it out and spread it over a few neighbors so they all had something. And then the ladies would wash those containers and I'd bring them back. And we did that for about 3 months. They even took me, they had a large barn where they showed movies every evening. And they would take me along in an open Jeep to watch a movie. But of course I didn't understand English. All I could see was a picture. But those were, because I was too young to be involved and so that they would pick me up. I didn't need a special pass and so on because I was under 16. But I was old enough to remember all the things that happened, the good things and the bad things. Mm-hmm. Like the bad thing was when my father, on an afternoon out in the field with a bunch of other men harvesting potatoes, were picked up by the Germans to send to work further south in Holland, build concrete bunkers. He escaped on them, but a couple of times the German soldiers in the middle of the night would come, knock on the door, come in the house and shine a flashlight in my face, ask me if I knew where my dad was. But I didn't know. My mom knew, but she never told me and my sister because there was a chance that I would tell them. So, but that's what some of the things they did to try to find out. Also, the food that we got, like, close to us was a small canal, and that's where, along that canal, all the ammunition, all the guns, revolvers, everything that the German soldiers had. Of course, they couldn't keep guns, they had to turn it all in. And all of that stuff was put in a long row along that canal. And then the Canadian soldiers, afterwards, they couldn't go there either, but they begged us to see if we could find small revolvers, German revolvers, that they would like to take back home to Canada. And I would get a couple of chocolate bars for a revolver, which the revolver didn't mean much to me, but chocolate bars were great. Or I would get a package of cigarettes for my dad. But they were, for my age, it was fun time, but it was a terrible time for older people.